welcome back. I'm Taryn, watercolor abstract artist, and
I'm Sieglinde. I'm also an abstract artist, and it's our pleasure to welcome you back to another episode of Art Sparks with Taryn and Sieglinde. What are we talking about today, Taryn?
Okay, today we have a question from our fabulous viewers. One view. Yes, I know. All right. So the question is, are prints valuable or a complete waste of money?
Aha, thank you so much for that question, because it's a really good one. And the short answer is, it depends. And now we can have a conversation about the longer answer. So first of all, how many of the prints are there? Meaning, is it a limited edition print, or are there just as many prints as anybody wants to buy? So if it's a limited edition print, it will be more valuable. If it's like a mass-produced or unlimited edition, not so much.
So how many is the limited edition of it? How do you round it up? How do you know?
Yeah, okay, let's continue with the limited edition, because I'm assuming that the question came of like, what is valuable to spend my money on, right? So a limited edition can run from 5, 25, 50, 100, 500, 1,000. It really depends on the artists. For instance, for me, I like to keep my editions 25 or below, like so really small. And why? Because the smaller the edition, the higher value the print will be. And then also, what's really interesting with limited edition is that as the edition runs out, the price goes up. For instance, say that you have a limited edition of 10, right? And 125 has already sold. Now, market standards for print sales is that once you hit number 6 to 10, the price goes up. And as you get closer to number 9 and then the last one, it could be double the price or more from when the edition was first released from the artist studio. And so in short, it's like the number 1 is like the coveted prize that you want to get, or that final one. But you will pay a lot more money for the final number than you would for the first number initially, right?
See, I like this question because I have also questions about like, okay, let me see. And you're good at it, so that's good. Okay.
Well, it's because because photo-based work typically works in edition print. So I've been working with those concepts and those market traditions or rules, or however you want to call it, for quite a while. So
I see. But that's what would be also what I want to know, for example. And I think the viewers would like to know also too is like, okay, if you have the print, how much involvement does the artist have? Because you can see prints all over. So how much is really the artist that is getting also the money back? Or how much involvement does they have of the print?
Again, good question. And it's kind of like a painful point, to tell you the truth, because there's a lot of places right now where artists can just upload their artwork, right? And then this other service prints it and frames it and then ships it to the buyer, like ready to hang on the wall. So for the buyer, it's really easy, right? They just like click this print, this size, this frame, they pay, and it arrives and it's ready to hang. But the artist had nothing to do with it. The artist has not even seen that the quality of the print is up to their standards. The artist hasn't even seen if the print in the frame looks nice and well produced. So the artist basically cannot guarantee that you received a quality artwork. So I would say, if we're talking about where can you get your highest value in terms of prints, if the artist was involved and the artist, even if the artist outsourced the print, right? The actual printing, if they at least hand signed it and hand number it, that means that they saw it and they approved of it.
Yes.
That would be a much more valuable print. And so if not all artists have like big fancy professional printers in their studios, right? I happen to have one, but most people, most artists do send it out to professional printers. And then if you're worried about the quality, you can always ask the artist, okay, who if you didn't produce the print, but they still signed it and numbered it and approved of it, who did? And you can, and it's a fair question, and they can always Google this printer online and read the reviews, and then you can feel more comfortable about your investment in this print.
All right. Well, that gives me then to another thing that I will be thinking about. Do they lose value with the time, or do they stay value the same? Yeah.
Right.
Do they keep the value?
Right. Well, first of all, huge disclaimer, as with any artwork, the value can go up or down, right? It really depends on the artist and the career of the artist and the professionalism and the mastery and the craftsman's skills of the artist. But let's just say that this is a very reputable artist and it's a high quality print, then in general, they do keep their value, just like paintings do. And as I mentioned earlier, as scarcity sets in, right? If this is a really popular edition, if they're almost all sold out, they actually raise in value. So, yeah.
All right. But okay, and how about the edition varié?
Yes, thank you for asking that. So an edition varié means that it is still a limited edition, but not every piece in the edition is exactly identical. Yes, for instance, like with a digital artwork, right? Mm-hmm. And you run it out of a printer. Mm-hmm. Every piece will be identical. Mm-hmm. But the artist can choose to have a limited edition of 25 and have people have two different sizes that people can choose from. I actually do that. My higher editions, they actually offer two different sizes, like a small size and a medium size, because then it makes it more accessible to everybody, right? But then I cannot call it a limited edition because not all pieces are identical. Like one will be an 8x10 and another one will be a 20x30 inches, right? So it's not identical, but it's still the same image, just a different size. That would be a varié. Or hold on, if the artist makes a print, but then goes in by hand, so that the base is the same, but then there's like little handwork involved in it that may not have every print identical. Mm-hmm. For instance, in terms of etchings, right, where mm-hmm. prints are handmade from a plate, right? Uh-huh. The plate is always the same, but for instance, the artist can choose to make the print in different colors. Mm-hmm. Then again, it's the same limited edition, but because the color can be either brown or blue, it's called an edition varié because it's not all identical. So you don't lose any value with the edition varié. It's just to be transparent that not every print is identical in color, in size, but they're all the same base image. That's the best way I can explain it, I think.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Good that you established that, because I was thinking like, okay, different sizes. Okay. Now, giclee.
Oh, your favorite, right, Taryn?
Hey guys, I'm gonna do something, okay? I have so much trouble with that word, okay? I always people who knows me knows, okay? A lot.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist teasing my co-host for a moment.
It's because
over here. Okay.
Now I'm ready.
So a giclee print is a limited edition, typically, and it is a fine art reproduction of an original. So first of all, it's a reproduction, which means that the original, most of the time, is a painting, but then the painting gets produced as a limited edition giclee, and in the same archival way and in the same fine art feel way as if it were also an original. Actually, a lot of people who buy giclee prints, well, I hope they know, but if you go to like fancy law firms in downtown San Francisco, right? They often have giclee prints on the walls in their offices. It's not posters. They look like real art. They look like it's on fine art paper. And I think most people in that building think that they're originals, and they don't even realize that the original was actually a painting, but they have a giclee print from it. But it looks like a real piece of art. So it's not a poster reproduction. It's not an inkjet print reproduction. Actually, giclee prints are made with pigment inks. So, but it's on archival material, and in the art world, it is still considered a fine art product. That's why it's called a fine art reproduction of an original on archival paper.
So see, that will give me a ton of idea. If you have a reproduction, you have a giclee, have the original, so it must be different price range. So what to expect? What can you expect to pay from a limited edition?
So not just for giclees, right? In general, limited editions?
So because it's different, I think what I'm understanding is different layers. All right, is the original, is the giclee, and then is the limited editions, no? Yeah.
No, a giclee is also a limited edition. Yes, but it's an archival reproduction, right? For instance, with the risk of confusing everybody, so the giclee, like you have a painting, and then you can have a giclee print from a painting. If you have a photograph, you cannot have a giclee from a photograph because
it's a production.
The photograph is the original, and if there's 10 of this photograph, all 10 are originals, even though they're limited edition, because you cannot make like a giclee reproduction from a photograph, if that makes sense, right? The limited edition serves as the original for the photograph. So, but in terms of pricing, then actually we're going to link it up, but we have to go back to the episode that we did on pricing of artwork, because it sort of follows the same rules as what is the reputation and the career level of the artists, what is the size of the limited edition print, and then also typically for the editions is like how many are there? What is the number of the edition? Is it 25 or is it 500? Very big difference, right? And and then in terms of photography, limited editions there's also the distinction between photography and fine art photography. And we touched upon that briefly in a previous episode as well. But the best way to understand it is that photography shows what the camera, prints what the camera sees. So it's a true to life reproduction of reality, so to speak, right? And with fine art photography, it's not what the camera sees, it's what the artist sees. So there is another level of artistic merit layered on top of it. And that can also influence the price of your limited edition photographic work.
See, that will use another talk we can have about photography.
Yes.
All right, good. All right, so what I'm understanding is, it's something, if you're new and you're starting out, it's good to start buying.
Yeah, so here's what I would say in conclusion, right? First of all, let's just reiterate that a standard photographic poster that is printed on canvas and sold in IKEA, that's not the valuable limited edition print we're talking about. As a matter of fact, first of all, it's mass produced, but also artworks that are produced in this way, their price level and their value is based on their production cost plus a profit margin. And there's not an artistic merit or an artistic value, right? So if you are a college kid and you want to have a cool, fun way to decorate your dorm room, that's awesome. But if you are a little bit more elevated in life and you want something real with substance on your walls, then stay away from that cheap, well, I don't want to use the word cheap, inexpensive type of photo prints on canvas, right? Unless you understand that that's not buying real artwork, right?
Well, I think it's like a step, no? You go from, you can, like you say, you pass from one and then you go to another and then you go to another.
It's kind of
how
like
you evolve.
Buying a poster in a museum store, right? Which is like very much at the bottom of the scale, and then you move up, right?
And then you move up, you go cliches, and then you go forward to buy already.
But I have to say, like, if you're just starting out, if you can get your hands on a limited edition print that is either produced or at least hand signed and hand numbered by the artist, that is an awesome entry-level art investment. And not only that, in terms of size, you'll get a bigger bang for your buck, because you can get a much bigger print than you would get a painting for that price level. So I think it's a very exciting way to get started. But I would still be cautious about, again, make a hand signed, hand numbered, check how the exact number, reputation of the artist, professionalism of the artist, craftsmanship. And then also, we've stressed this before, ask for the certificate of authenticity. And so the certificate of authenticity is actually protecting you, especially for limited edition prints, because it will say who that the artist retains the copyright. That's very typical. Then it would name the name of the artist, a thumbnail of your piece, the material. It would also say the exact number that you acquired, any details that the artist want to share. But most of all, like I prefer to sign and date my certificates by hand also. Like, it's not just like printed out on the computer. I sign and date them by hand, and then the date is usually when the buyer purchases the piece, which is then also a beautiful way in there for their reference records, not just the information about the piece, but also the date that they acquired it. And then it protects you. If all of a sudden you thought you bought number 11 from 20 and all of a sudden there turns out to be 25 pieces, then either, you can go sue the artist for not being honest and having no integrity, or there's people who made false reproductions and fakes and they don't have that certificate. So as long as you have that certificate and it's properly signed and dated, you are protected.
See, now you know. And actually, I do certificates. Now you know. Okay, check out. It's like a birth certificate. Okay, all right.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean,
all right. So I hope that you get an idea that if you buy, like, see, here you go again, giclees. Okay.
Let's just call it limited editions. Limited.
See, that works for me. So I'm like, all right. Then now you know what to expect, how to get it, and
mostly what to look for, right? If you want to make sure that if the question was like, are prints valuable or a waste of money? They can be both, but we just shared with you what to look for to make sure that you are not wasting your money, because we don't want that.
No, and actually it was also very informative for me. I'm sorry, but yes, I am new at this stuff. So I have never done. I'd never done. So that's
yeah, but you make gorgeous originals.
Thank you. So I'll think about to make.
Okay, well, we're just gonna chat offline between the two of us and leave you to it. So thank you so much for that question. If you have another question that we haven't talked about before, or even we did talk about it, but we skimmed over it real fast, and you want us to go in a little deeper, share with us, like share it in the comments or send us an email or find us on social media. There's so many ways to get in touch with us and ask us your questions so we can have this kind of a conversation about it. And in the meantime, please share this video with anybody you think would benefit, and subscribe to our channel. That really helps us in the YouTube algorithms. And we hope to be back here next week with another Art Sparks with Taryn and Sieglinde. Thank you so much.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.